What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the show. And today we've got a great lineup, and we've been looking to kick this off. This is going to be the very first podcast kicking off our series on building a barndominium start to finish. So we want to say welcome, everybody, back to the show. I'm here with, my lovely wife, and we're the host, Josh and Brandy Helm. And I have a co-host here today as well, who is going to be helping us routinely on this show, Drew Peterson.
What's up, guys?
And we have a special guest on today's show, Alan
Luzier.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's like Hoosier with an L.
Okay. I always say Alan Luzier, but I always put a different spin on everything. So we want to say welcome, Alan, to today's podcast. He is the owner of Ellis County Reprographics and works with us quite a bit. And we're going to get some perspectives today in regards to plans and specs. And so we're going to be talking about his role in that. But I wanted to lead off. I was kind of trying to think about in regards to our subject and our objective today. And, the scripture says in Habakkuk 2:2, it says, write the vision and make it plain upon the tablets so that he may run that reads it. And so we're going to be talking about discussing plans for building a barndominium, the benefits and the importance, and where to begin, common mistakes to avoid, these types of things. And we've got a lineup of questions that we're going to kind of engage Alan on and see what maybe he can help us with. So again, Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming in today, because otherwise we'd be doing like a Zoom call or some type of a video conferencing. And it certainly makes it easier on our part. And as you might be aware, we don't need any more challenges this morning.
No.
So, so I wanted to get right into the topics that we have. And I just wanted Alan to kind of share with us just a little bit, some of your background, and give us a history, Alan, how you got started into this business.
Okay. I started in the oil industry in the early 70s, and also architectural. The oil industry went kaboom. Mm-hmm. So I branched back over into architectural at that time. So I've been drawing these houses off and on for over 40 years, for conventional. Been getting into the barndominiums here in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that as in regards to how long ago it was that you started, because when I first found you, you had barndominium on your card, so you were drawing those for quite a while.
I probably did. I've been drawing them a long time, so maybe 20 years. I can't keep track, but I did it part-time when I worked at Tyler Refrigeration. Okay. And then when I got laid off there, I went and did this full-time, which I wish I would have done that a long time ago.
Right. It's been a great, I guess, avenue for you guys. And
yes,
I know that you're pretty busy and sought after.
Well, I get calls from Mueller, steel place, all kinds of builders in the Ellis County area that I do, conventional homes for also. So, but the barndominiums have just really skyrocketed here the last year, 6 months, whatever.
So, I was going to get into that and ask you how often, maybe, because you do a lot of conventional designs as well, and I know that you work with a lot of other builders in our area, but in relative to the barndominium itself, I was going to ask you, how it's changed. And I know that Texas Best is obviously, sending some folks your way.
Yes,
but
thank you.
Yes, but what are, in your mind, what are some of the reasons why you feel that some people choose a barndominium as opposed to a conventional style home?
The main reason people call me about barndominiums is they think it's cheaper. And I don't really know the cost of everything. And I tell them that it can be cheaper. Some of them are not necessarily cheaper, depending on how you what I call trick them out, on the inside.
So there's a lot of misconceptions in regards to the barndominiums.
I think there is. I know a few years back, earlier they might have been cheaper, but I don't know that they're any cheaper now. I can't say.
Do you think that some of the pressure involved is, people who are trying to get conventional financing and things like that, because the builders, in order to gain respect for the barndominium, and if it's going to be a viable option for people, then you have to move into doing things on a real professional level. And some of the DIY misconception is that people can maybe save half the cost and things like this without a builder, and that's somewhat of a misconception.
I get a lot of people that want to build them themselves, and I tell them you really need a builder. If you don't know anything about building, you need a builder to help you. And
a lot of our finance people tell us that as well. Like they want to work with a builder, somebody that is experienced in that. And in Texas, there is more of an opportunity for that. But in other states, it's not quite as much of a option. If they're really, really, really wanting a barndominium, they may not be able to find somebody who's versed in, say, a turnkey option. And so there may be pockets of that where, people don't always consider the time as being a part of their cost if they're wanting to build it themselves. But it is pretty involved if you're going to, try to build something yourselves. So, I know that, Brandy, you get a lot of calls in, that people are wanting to build a barndominium. And in regards to that, what are a lot of the reasonings other than people that love our channel and, they see a lot of these finishes? I know, maybe you can share a little bit about what you think people are attracted to when it comes to the barndominium.
Well, they like to see the open floor plans, the real open vaulted ceilings and things like that. But yeah, a lot of them do want to finish them themselves. So we do have a lot of people that call in asking about that. But most banks aren't going to fund your time. Like you said, they may reimburse you for your expenses, but they're not going to pay you to lay your own floor. They're not going to pay you the labor on any of that. So, but yeah, we have a lot of people call in. They're wanting the fact that it's very minimal on the exterior maintenance. So that's definitely one thing that draws people to the barndominium. A lot of it has to do with just a style. It's just different. It's not something you see every day. And then you drive up to and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then when you walk in, you're like, wow, this is impressive. This isn't what I expected it to be, So I think people like the wow factor. And there's just so many options on, doing neat doors and all these windows and all that kind of stuff.
It can be some shock and awe factor, involved. And I think a lot of people are attracted to that. I can remember when I was in my early 20s, and Alan was probably drawing these barndominiums at that time. But I remember, walking into some of these barndominiums here in the Texas area, we're talking 20 years ago, and seeing this concept and just really falling in love with it. And I liked the versatility. I liked the fact that, you could have a shop area and, walk in and out from this big open shop as opposed to maybe just a, conventional style garage or conventional home. Well, Alan, in terms of design, let's talk about really some of the advantages of building a barndominium, because what are some of the advantages in relative to design? It's easier maybe for expansiveness purposes or spanning.
Well, the main thing is, like Brandy said, the maintenance. I'm be less maintenance for a metal building or barndominium than a conventional home, unless you're doing brick all the way around it. But I've drawn a lot of these where, that people put their RVs in them. They live in them. And their RVs, they back them in there and leave them in there all the time. And I originally designed my first house that way. I was going to put the RV in there, but we changed our mind on that. So, but to your question, I don't know all the things about barndominiums as far as economical, the cost for them and all that.
Well, there will be a later point in our podcast where we will discuss cost factors and things of that nature, okay. But like not in today's episode, because obviously we want to utilize Alan while he's here and discuss some of the processes that are involved to get plans drawn, and like the way that I led off in the beginning of the show here, just talking about how important it is to write the vision down and to make it plain so that he that reads it can run with it, which I'm referring to the builder. Because if you don't have a good set of plans, you could expect a lot of stops along the way and maybe mishaps and maybe interruptions and changes and, new decisions. So having that plan, I think, is crucial, so give us, Alan, the process to drafting a barndominium. Where would someone begin with you in that?
So what I tell my customers is the best place to go is on the internet, wherever they want to find a plan, that they like. But because of copyright, I don't work directly off that plan. So I have them sketch it out for me, a very simple sketch. I got a 60 by 40 building. I want an approximate 12 by 12 bedroom in this corner. I want my kitchen over here, my family room over here. However you want it laid out, that's what I work off of. It's just easier for me to do it that way. There's no copyright issues. We don't have to worry about anyone coming back and say you stole my plan or anything like that. So that's the first step, is to find a floor plan. I need a picture of how you would like the front of the building to look like. Just an idea, whether you're going to do a gable with exposed cedar beams or you want to do a shed roof along the front. However you want it, just bring me a picture.
You can find those on like Pinterest.
On Pinterest, anywhere on the internet. They don't have to sketch the front elevation. I just need an idea. The floor plan is the only thing they have to sketch. So,
that helps give you an idea in which a direction to go, because it's just kind of,
yes.
Do you want it open or do you want it? Some people don't like the open concept, and you kind of want to.
Everybody has an idea how they want the plans. I've had people just send me, I want a 3-bedroom house, 2 baths, big living area. That tells me nothing. I did that a few times, and I realize we're not meeting. I have no idea how you want it laid out. Yeah. So I have to have a sketch of how you want it laid out.
So you mean just by somebody calling you on the phone, you have no idea what they want?
No idea what they want.
You're not a mind reader?
Not a mind reader.
That kind of even speaks to what we discussed last week, talking about if you have a set of plans, it may change a little bit because we use 2x6 studded walls. So if those plans don't represent that, you may have to change that up a little bit. So even that kind of eliminates any problem with that if you're just sketching it out and going through the plans with you anyway.
Yeah. So when I draw plans for Texas Best, I start out with a 6-inch purlin wall, and then I do the 1.5-inch metal ledge around it where there's no porch or patio. And that's pretty much the perimeter walls. My plans, I keep them very simple. I don't get into a whole lot of detail, like pages after details that you would get on an internet. There's only like 4 or 5 sheets in my plans, actually. You got the electrical, the plumbing, the dimensions, a door window schedule, elevations, and a roof plan. That's the extent of my plans.
Which is the basics of really what you need, because when you're dealing with, say, interim construction loans and banks, they want to see the elevation plan. They want to also see the floor plan. So that gives them a good general idea of what's going to be happening. Of course, they want you to be working with a reputable builder, which is another thing. But really, that's it, right? I mean, it's not that difficult. And so I'd like to tear down some misconceptions maybe people have in regards to plans, because a lot of people are trying to rip plans off of other people. Are you relatively surprised, or are people relatively surprised or taken back by cost of getting plans drawn?
Not nowadays, not really. No, I tell them I charge 40 cents per square foot under roof on my plans in the county. If it's in the city or an HOA, it's more, a little more. But people don't really
now,
hesitate.
how is that relative, do you think, to hiring, say, a full-blown architect or engineer or something in that region?
Well, there are some architects that might be 75 cents a square foot. Most of them are typically $1 or more.
Okay.
So you can figure it up.
It's quite a bit better deal in regards to getting the plans drawn. So that's why I feel like it's relatively affordable. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Well, and the reason that I do that is I am only a designer. I do not represent myself as an engineer or architect. My plans state that. I'm a home designer is what I am.
But you got a lot of experience.
I've been drawing them for over 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the early 70s that I took the architectural class. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't use it for a few years, but I never lost the knowledge.
Right.
That's great to know. And, I'm sure you could get certified into that realm if you wanted to take on the liability and go that direction. Huh?
Yeah. At my age, I'm just, I just want to work long enough to pay for the house I just built.
There you go. Well, we're going to see if we can help you in that. Obviously, we appreciate your services, and that's why we wanted to bring you on the panel today and just kind of pick your brain a little bit. But so you talked about the package of plans that routinely you provide. Is that the extent of it, or do you sometimes go further?
That's pretty much the extent, other than adding a plat to that. If I have to show the plat with the house sitting on the lot with the driveway and all that, that's one other drawing.
Which somebody might know as like a site plan.
Site plan, yes. Yeah. If you're building in an HOA situation or in the city.
Yeah, the city wants
the city requires that you do the plat because they have to see where it's setting. Most HOAs require that because they're going to want to see where you're setting the house, make sure you're not going over the building lines and all that good stuff.
Now, I know we were talking a minute ago about spacing and dimensions and things of that nature. And so I'd really like, any tips that you could help people that are leaning into doing maybe a SketchUp before they call you. Is there certain dimensions that are more ideal? Like if somebody said, I want a 20 by something, or is there a ideal dimension that would be better to start front to back versus width and all of that?
No, not really. I don't do any bedrooms any smaller than 10 by 10, ever. And I try to get them, 12 by 12. Most people like big bedrooms, but based on the square footage, you can't always do that. If you're doing a 1,200 square foot house, I'm not going to be able to get 3 bedrooms that are going to be 12 by 12 in there and have enough living area in the rest of the house. So things like that, that's where I work with them. You tell me what you're working with square footage wise. I will design it as big as I can, bedrooms and all that.
Most of the time, though, structurally speaking, it seems like a lot of these layouts front to back as you come in the front door is 30 to 50 foot. Typically they're 20 foot wide. I'd say 20 foot wide by maybe 30 feet deep. For kitchen and living area?
For kitchen and living area, yeah. Because most of the people are doing the large islands nowadays, like 8 to 9 foot islands, pretty big. Sometimes I run out of room, but I just, I work with the square footage and see if they can go a little more sometimes.
Well, I've been real impressed. I've been over to, I was at your other office before you built your new place, but, I'm real impressed with how you guys are organized and you're taking on so much work.
Thank you.
Some people might say, well, I bet this guy's real busy. Is there room for another design, that And tell me how you organize and what is a lead time on?
Right now, you met with me today with your plan. I'm about 2 weeks to 3 weeks out for a prelim. That's never really over 3 weeks. I get to them before that, but I never know how many I'm going to get. So that's why I tell people that. Once I get the prelim to you, you get with your builder, you tweak it, make changes. Once you're ready to go, it's about another 2 weeks to finish from that point. And like I said, I have people looking at prelims from last summer. They may have changed their mind. They may have, who knows, whatever reason, they just haven't got back with me yet. But then I got other people that look at prelim in 3 or 4 days, they get back with me and they're good. So I get them right back in line. So it could be as much as four weeks. Are
you seeing that a lot of people during the prelim stage, like you get them a preliminary? Let's define that. What is a preliminary plan?
A preliminary is I take your sketch, I draw it up the best I can. I'll put all the doors, the hallways, the windows, everything in there, square footages. You meet with your builder after I get the prelim, and I tell them to get as close as possible with the prelim and their front picture that they're going to bring me before we start all the other drawings. So, and I know all builders want a full set of plans to give them a complete price and everything. But I need for them to be in the ballpark as far as this. I'm good with this 4,000 square foot building. I'm not going to change my square footage. I'm good with that, and I'm good with the pricing. Then I can proceed with the rest of the drawings. The problems I have is people don't get with the builder in the prelim stage, and they take it upon themselves to tell me, it's good, we're good. I want to go ahead and finish. They get to the builder, and they find out, I can't afford it. I got to shrink it down. Sometimes I have to shrink 500 or 600 square feet out of a house. It's real hard to do.
Because they don't want to sacrifice anything.
They don't want to sacrifice anything. Plus, I have to redo everything.
Right.
I got to redo all the electrical, the elevations. This is more conventional homes than barndominiums.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because a lot of my clients usually want to raise their square footage after we give them a price.
Oh, do you?
I'm just kidding.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's more conventional homes because I have so many offsets in the conventional homes. They're bumped out here, they're bumped out there. Roof designs are tricky.
All cut up.
So you start shrinking that, and it changes everything. I have to change the elevations, the electrical. So I try to be very sure on their square footage before I put it in line to finish.
Well, and we try to give them a ballpark on pricing as well so that they're not changing it with you and with us and all that. So they have an idea before they get started about how much am I going to be able to afford. Yeah, that's the key.
In regards to that, because I know, Alan, in previous conversations we've discussed, you discussed how important it is for people to get with the builder during that prelim stage because of cost, because that way it helps you to hone in on moving forward, with the plans, because you don't want to go to all this work of doing the full elevations and plumbing drawings and dimension plans and everything that entails.
Absolutely right.
Without people knowing that they're going to be able to execute or get what they fully need in the end. And so, and I think a lot of our clients have been really good about listening to you, because usually we laugh about it because they all start calling about the same time and saying they need to get with me.
Okay.
Alan said to call you.
Alan wants to get with Josh.
I tell him to get with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of them are doing that. And, of course, we would love to have full elevation plans and things like that as we're trying to finalize price, because sometimes there is a surprise window thrown in there that I didn't know about. I'm thinking about some that we are dealing with in the current, which, it's not a major deal, but we have to make some final adjustments in the final price when it comes to settling our overall final, numbers. Correct. But, it's nothing major. And so that's the ideal situation that you're looking for, is that constant communication. And that's important because during that time frame, I know that our clients are trying to also communicate with the lender to give a approximate about, as they're preparing their loan documents and, everything that it might entail. And so, very good information. And I think we've covered a lot of this already, but what if, how often, and I'm sure you deal with this in the conventional sense more than even on the barndominium, but what if someone's needing a stamped set of plans for some reason for the city? Is there an alternate route or a way still for you to be involved, but maybe have some help?
There is, yes, that is a case sometimes. If you're building in the city limits of Ennis, I hope I can say these things. I don't know.
Sure.
If you're building in the city limits of Ennis, they do require stamps. But if you go through the engineer, which is Incon over in Ennis, who does, I send all my plans over there that are going through them. If it's in the city and you're using Incon will stamp my plans.
Okay.
Instead of submit them with their package for the foundation. They've been doing that in the past.
We've used them as well for foundation engineers, stuff like that.
Yeah, I send a lot of stuff over there to them.
Nice.
But now Waxahachie, it doesn't even require any stamps.
Right. Now you might have to go to a couple city council meetings, but in Waxahachie, we've had to do that.
I try to stay out of city limits.
Well, most of our builds are, because most people are trying to build on acreage and things like that, and they're usually in the county anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to kind of recap, I mean, basically, if someone needs a set of step plan, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to work with them at all. It just means it depends on the situation, I suppose.
Yes, it depends on the situation.
And that is something maybe to discuss up front if they're contacting, saying, and then all of a sudden surprise, hey, this is supposed to go to the city. It'd definitely be something. I don't know. Maybe that's a key question you ask.
It's one of the first questions I ask them. Where are you building? If it's in the city, I will explain to them that I do not know city codes. I do not get into city codes other than a roof pitch, things like that. Percentage of brick, I can do that, but I don't get into the green stuff that they're talking about. Any city codes they would have to take care of.
Got you. You're, as far as the drafting is concerned, you're doing layouts and house design, and it's up to them to know any special requirements from the city or from whatever municipalities or an HOA or.
It's up to them and their builder.
Right. Very good. So, guys, you're getting all the information here. Alan's giving you cost. He's giving you what to expect. I think with what he's laying out, you ought to feel like this is relatively affordable. It's very important because, like I said, you want to have a good plan. You want to know, the extent of what's going to be built. Now, I know this for a fact, but Alan, you do not do renderings when it comes to
no, sir,
those type of things.
I don't do any 3D renderings, any color. Like some people want to see what it's going to look like in color. Well, my AutoCAD doesn't do color that well. So if they need stuff like that, they would have to go to an architect.
Now, I know also you what do they get in the end as far as working with you? Prints and things like that? Well,
most of mine are furnished prints for 5 sets. If they need more, I give them more. That's not a problem. The larger barndominiums, there's no charge for prints. The smaller ones, I do. Like if it's 1,200, 1,500 square foot barndominium, I do charge for 5 sets of prints, but that's only about $50 for prints. But the larger ones, I don't.
Well, can you give us some information about how clients would find you?
My website is Ellis County Repro Graphics, REPRO graphics.com. You can get my email there and my home address here in Waxahachie.
And like you said, I know you're going to be planning to stay in this for
several more years.
It's like golf, right? You can't give up a good hobby.
Well, this is my hobby, believe it or not. I mean, people ask me, once you retire and do something. I am retired. I am doing something. I'm just making money at it.
That's great. I was going to ask you, do you have any other hobbies and interests besides,
I like to cruise, and that's been on hold for quite a while.
Yeah.
I like to travel, cruise mostly, but
we like to do that as well.
Do you?
Now, one other thing, tell me about this recent scare you had here in the last year or two.
Last May 5th, I broke my neck. I was helping my brother dump some trash at a Waxahachie dump, and I pulled on a particle box, and it gave way. Particle boxes are not real strong, and it was real heavy. And when I pulled on it, it gave way, and I toppled right over into the pit, fell on the back of my neck, and broke C5 and C6 on my neck. So,
my goodness,
very fortunate to recover from that, because I could have been killed easily, or could have been paralyzed either way.
I remember that happening because we were, doing a lot of correspondence with your wife, and she was giving us updates, and she was telling us you were working sometimes from the bed.
I don't know if I was doing
or maybe
that,
you were ready to get quite back into it. I can't remember.
When I was home, I guess a week, it hurt pretty bad back here still, but I would go in there and just start seeing how I could work. I would work maybe 1 or 2 hours, but I got real tired real quick. So, I built up and got my stamina back.
All while, was this during the COVID thing? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had, it took 24 hours to take 2 COVID tests. They did 2 of them on me. I'm not sure why, but the first one was 12 hours and the next one took 24 before they could do surgery. But, the surgery is not life or death right then. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
So, well,
you guys did have a beautiful home built. Like I said, I loved going in and seeing your setup. It's people like you guys who make it possible for us to continue and to have a real solution when it comes to plans. I'm a little nervous about how many people might be contacting you from maybe a little more exposure, because Brandy is already giving your guys' number out a lot, but we'll just take it as it comes, right?
I appreciate it, and just keep it coming. I will do the best I can to get them out quick as I can.
Absolutely. So we, are thankful, to have you guys as an option at Ellis County Reaper Graphics. And I've known about y'all for a long time. It's just we didn't have the need as much until the last year or two. With all of the demand, for the plans.
I do have one question for you.
Sure.
And I think I already know the answer, but just so that everyone else knows, a lot of times barndominiums may already be an existing structure, a barn that someone's wanting to finish out.
I get a lot of those.
Is that something that you tackle?
Yes. What I need on that is, if you've got an existing barn, I need dimensions out to out for the foundation, the slab. Whether it's 35 feet, 6 inches, I need those dimensions. If you've got existing plumbing already there, I would need to know the dimensions to the center of that plumbing so that I can lay out a bathroom for that. Otherwise, I just would start from scratch. If there's no plumbing, I would start, laying it out. I still need a sketch how they want it laid out, because I have no idea where anything is on that.
Right.
But I do not go to sites. On all my 40 years, I bet I haven't been to 2 or 3 sites in my whole life. I just don't have time to do that. But people just come to me.
To come out and do measurements and takeoffs and all that.
I've had people want me to do that, and I just tell them, I can't do that. I don't have time.
There are other options. There are people that could help you with that if you're, if they're really needing it. Or maybe they don't know how to use a tape measure.
Yeah, that's possible.
It's possible. I think there's so many things, obviously, that we could talk about in regards to the designs of a barndominium. In my best summary of things, a lot of our clients, Yeah, I think we're always combating the misconceptions of cost. A lot of people don't understand that, lumber costs me the same as it does a conventional style home builder. Mm-hmm. Flooring, other things like that cost the same. Everything pretty much involved if you really want to have a nice finish, and which seems to be where everybody's headed. It costs money. And so
I get a lot of people ask me the cost difference between a barndominium and a conventional home. I say, I can't tell you. I have really no idea. Those are things that the builder has to talk to you about.
Well, I can tell you pretty much in most cases it's going to be similar. Your build style, obviously, it dictates a lot of that. Your standard finishes. You can maneuver some things to where, you might save a little bit of money. But it's, if you're going to have a house that appraises out, and if you're getting a loan and you're getting finance and all these kind of things, I feel like a lot of people want to build barndominiums because of the style. They've either fallen in love with the style. They want to have the closeness, say, of a large shop, some expansive open areas, all these kind of things has been a lot of the reasons why I feel like, or let's say somebody's wanting to build a mother-in-law quarters next door or something like in the nature of what we did here, because we have a conventional style home here. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to build another conventional style home right next door to the other home.
Right.
And so it complements in some ways. A lot of people will kind of do that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, Alan, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
To be here with us. And, we look forward to getting this information out there as always. And we may be calling on you again in future, episodes or something like that if we feel it's necessary. But you guys are great guys. This is Alan Luzier with Ellis County Reprographics. And we're going to have the information in the show notes, so you guys will be able to contact him and to get in touch with him if you're looking to get a design done. So it's been a great bit of information, Alan, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'm Josh Helm, wishing you guys all the best. Thanks for listening to Texas Best.